website. My name is Kristen Krugenach, and I'm the face and creator behind Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence. I had a booth at the East Stone Hurt, and I also had a booth outside. And I started this movement about 4 months ago because I was a victim of domestic violence. And you know, it takes a lot for someone to come up here and tell their story, like I'm going to tell you my story this evening. I'm one of many women who have been affected by domestic violence here on campus. And when I started this movement, I sent out a mass email to a lot of different departments on campus, telling people that I was starting this movement and I wanted people to join me. I was incredibly surprised on how many people on campus have contacted me saying they were a victim. People have been killed, relatives have been killed, people are overcoming their domestic violence situation, and I was one of those people. I created Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence because I was a victim. I was with my ex-boyfriend for a total of 3 years, and I suffered emotional, physical, financial, all sorts of different types of abuse while I was in that relationship. People ask me all the time, Kristen, why didn't you just leave? I mean, for those people who know who I am, I do pageants, I'm out there in the community, I volunteer, I do speeches like this all the time. And no one would know, no one would even guess that I was strangled, that I was choked, that I was tied with my hands and feet behind my back, and I was suffocated with a pillow one day. And right then and there, I thought that my life was over. I was with this person for 3 years, and I really thought that I was going to be with him forever because he made it seem that way, because he threatened me to be in this relationship with him. I couldn't leave. People ask me, why didn't you just leave him and call the police? It wasn't that easy, because I was threatened. He told me that he would kill me if I would leave the relationship. And if you were threatened by someone because you were in that type of relationship, I think you would probably stay too. I speak for myself, I was the one who stayed. And I made this movement because I wanted to share my story with people like you, people who may not have been a victim or people who have witnessed the issue. It's important to really break the silence against domestic violence because it's an issue that people don't want to talk about. I mean, in reality, who wants to even say the words domestic violence? And I want to be the voice for those people who have been a victim or who have not been a victim. I take it very seriously when I hear people's stories because the stories range from people getting strangled, people getting beat, people getting suffocated, people getting abused so severely in their face or in their body by a man. Because in a quick second, that person can turn around from being so nice to you to turn around and beat you like a man. And there's also violence between women and women and men and even children and parents. And the thing about Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence is it's a media campaign. I'm using social media such as Facebook and Twitter to share my story. I'm putting my life on the line for those people who cannot share their stories and for people that cannot voice their opinions and break the silence. 75% of people who are victims of domestic violence do not report it to the police. So I applaud those 25% who do. But for those 75% of people who do not share their stories with the police and do not dare to prosecute, their lives were on the line. My life is on the line every single day that I continue to promote Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence, but I am doing this for something bigger than myself. I'm doing this for all those people who were affected by domestic violence, regardless of how old they are, what race they are, because domestic violence does not discriminate. I have people emailing me left and right, women from across New York to Texas to across California, across this campus, because they were a victim of domestic violence. I have women in my videos, which I will get to in a second, that have shared their stories with me saying, I was shot in my head because I tried to run from my abuser. My abuser found me a year later and shot me, and then killed himself. I have another woman who said that she was shot in the neck and then she's paralyzed now, raising 2 daughters on her own. And every day when I think about, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this movement, maybe I should quit, I have every single one of those people who are following me on Facebook saying, don't quit, Kristen, don't do this, because I need you. People who don't know me, follow me on Facebook, share those stories with me, because I'm saving not only their life, but lives that depend on it. You know, it takes so much for me to be up up here telling people that I was abused physically, emotionally, mentally, and for me to inspire you to, if you were a victim of domestic violence, or if you know someone who's a victim of domestic violence, help them. Because it's one thing for you to be a victim of domestic violence, but people who were in my shoes need help. I can admit that. I've been in so many situations where I needed someone, that I needed someone to call the police on me, but the police were never called sometimes. Because people want to stay quiet, and that's something that they think it's their own personal situation. But you know, this is something that we need to stand up together, stand up as a community and fight domestic violence together as a community, as a campus, because it's a big issue. So like I said about my videos, how I'm using Breaking the Silence Against Domestic Violence is a social media campaign. I made a series of videos. I already made Breaking the Silence Part 2, which includes 27 women, including myself, sharing their stories about domestic violence. And I'm using this as a form of people sharing their stories, coming together, breaking the silence, and being a community, telling people that together we can make a difference. So for those of you who are interested in learning more about my movement and joining forces with me, I do have flyers here, and I also, if you have flyers from outside,